What's up, War Report family? It's your boy C-Dub. It is here. The Music City Bowl is here. Auburn gets ready to face off against the Maryland Terrapins. Let's talk about it in today's pregame show.
Pre-game, halftime, and post the whole time the chat live. We around our folks, but we gon' keep the chat tight, keeping out trolls. That's why you gotta get your green name on, your pre-game on, cause ain't nobody doing it better, reviewing it better, building rapport so you in tune with the players, with some quick prize picks so you can scoop you some cheddar. Get your mug or your shirt with the letters. Game time.
Yes, indeed. Before we get started, let's show love to our show sponsor, Prize Picks. Guys, please head over there and show them some love as they have shown the War Report some love. Use code Rapport where you can get your first deposit matched up to $100. It's bowl season, so this is a great way to get some picks in. What better way to do that than through Prize Picks? Also, want to show love to Lynch Toyota of Auburn, which is the area's premier Toyota dealership, serving the Auburn area for over 20 years. Guys, to buy, sell, or trade or service your vehicle, make sure you shop Lynch Toyota of Auburn for the best customer experience. Get started now at lynchtoyotaofauburn.com. Special shouts out to them. Also, another shout out to one of our show sponsors, Vintage 2298 in the Auburn area, serving the Auburn area with impeccable food. They've been a supporter of our fireside chats. We have had a chance to experience their food. Amazing. So if you're in the Auburn area, please stop by and tell them that the War Report sent you. Shout out to Vintage 2298. Shout out to you guys for hanging out here with us. I'm joined by B. Will. Ike and Mike are at the game covering it on behalf of the War Report. So we are holding it down here with you guys, getting our last minute thoughts in. B, how you feeling? Getting ready to kick off in less than 30 minutes. How you feel about this game as we're getting closer?
Yeah, man, I just got done watching Ohio State go out there and mess the bed, best way to say it, against Missouri. And I couldn't help but feel like, man, how bad is it to lose your starting quarterback and then lose your prepared starting quarterback? Right. Experience matters in bowl games, man, which makes me very glad that we have our quarterback that we started with. Regardless of what I felt like during the season, at least you got somebody who knows what they're doing. Like people are breaking tendencies. Defenses are going to do something they haven't done to try to scare you. We have our guy who has gone through these ups and downs with the coaching staff, trying to figure things out, with the wide receivers trying to figure things out, and with the offensive line trying to figure things out. All of that experience culminates into a certain level of preparedness that you just can't get when you got somebody who's only been preparing for 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm glad we got an experienced quarterback starting, and that makes me feel like we got a pretty good chance here today. Like we have an advantage. I would take Auburn by 6.5 today. Absolutely, I would. That's the line for today, and I would take it.
And there's a trend here because you mentioned the Ohio State-Missouri game, but also the Texas A&M Oklahoma State game. Their quarterback went into the transfer portal, ended up transferring to North Carolina. That brought in a third-string QB as well as a new offensive coordinator for Texas A&M. And it's not so much how the game starts. It's what you got to do in the second half when adjustments have been made. The game is on the line. If you don't have that experience at that position, unless that kid is just a transcendent type of player who's your future, those teams tend to not do well in these bowl games. And so, again, it shifts the advantage to Auburn and on Auburn's behalf because you have a guy who has experience. This is his third year as a starter. First year in the SEC, has played in some battles. He's experienced and battle tested in the SEC, playing a Big Ten school that he's seen before, I'm sure, in Peyton Thorne. So I like Auburn's chances. And again, talk about B. Will, how big it was that Talia decided not to play in this game. I think I would have been a lot more concerned if he was playing in this game.
I would have been a lot more concerned too. Mike Locksley is an offensive coach by trade. Again, kind of the same thing with what we've had in Peyton Thorne. Is Talia Tagovailoa an elite quarterback? No, he hasn't been. He's been a starter for 3 or 4 years, and he's never been an elite quarterback. But when you've got a coach who knows you, knows what you can and can't do, and he is preparing you, he knows you 3-4 years starting. That's enough time to create an excellent game plan when you are familiar with the quarterback and the quarterback is familiar with you. That is an advantage that he no longer has. So you can prepare a backup quarterback to, hey, here's the plays, here's how we're going to run it, here's what you should expect. But you can't teach him to react to things the way an experienced starter knows how to react, knows how to look for wrinkles and read defenses and look at movement along the defense. There are certain things that you can't identify until you've seen them. Buddy, a brand new quarterback makes this a completely different game for us. Well, for them too, but in a bad way. This is advantage Auburn because Talia Tagovailoa decided to opt out and try to maximize his NFL draft potential.
Indeed, indeed. And we'll talk more about the game, but really quick, it was announced this morning, or the reports are coming out, that Auburn is hiring Charles Kelly to join its staff. Obviously, he's probably going to fill Coach Crime's role. Coach Crime will stay in an off-the-field position, but still on staff, also helping with recruiting. Your thoughts on that, B. Will, about the reports of that? This is also Charles Kelly, who was in the running for defensive coordinator. His name was being thrown out almost a year ago as Hugh Freeze was looking to fill that position. So your thoughts on the hire?
Yo, I like this hire. Charles Kelly wanted to come to Auburn this last offseason. Hugh Freeze, actually, he was sourcing some other candidates. Obviously, he landed with Ron Roberts. But Charles Kelly was like, hey, man, you give me the word, I'm coming. Hit me up. I'll come down there right now. He didn't get the call, but instead, now what we have is a situation where we are stacking just a wealth of experience, of X's and O's experience, of college experience, of SEC experience, recruiting expertise. Zach Etheridge, Coach Crime, Charles Kelly, what Josh Aldridge has been able to do at linebacker, and now what Jeremy Garrett has already started doing at defensive line.
Nasty.
Ooh,
Nasty.
Buddy, this is recruiting like
Nasty.
I have never. Not only are we recruiting at an all-time high, we have prioritized recruiting like we never have before. And now we have recruiting potential because of the staff that we have. The recruiting experience and expertise is the highest it's ever been here. I don't see any negatives with it. I'm not 100% sure if Charles Kelly, is he an excellent defensive coordinator? I don't know. He was at Florida State when they beat us in 2013, but part of him being at Florida State during that time was Florida State was stacked with talent. Yes. And that was a lot of the Bobby Bowden effect. That was Bobby Bowden's legacy, his last wave of few classes. That was what that was, because since then he took a step back to get on Bama staff, if I'm not mistaken. He did very well recruiting there, but I don't know if he is as illustrious a defensive coordinator as he is a position coach and recruiter. I'm not sure. I know if you add him in and you don't take anybody away from our staff, elite, fantastic addition. I don't know if he's a great substitute for any one position, but you tell me you just add him in. I love it.
I mean, he was part of a staff that had, I know y'all don't really care for him, the defensive coordinator, Ole Miss, who learned under Ron Roberts. So it seems like a good fit for Charles Kelly for sure. I'm curious to see what his title will be and kind of where he stacks up with this coaching staff. Obviously, with him having experience coordinating the defense, you and me talked about it offline. This could be your heir apparent in the event that Ron Roberts may move on in the future. Not pushing Ron Roberts out the door by any means, but again, as a coach, you do want. Nick Saban is developed a reputation for this. He's stacking coaches in the event that with success on that side of the ball, one guy moves on and get an opportunity. You have another guy who slides right on into that position, and the defense continues to move on, right? And I like the move. I like what it sets up for in the future. But again, the immediate effect from a recruiting standpoint, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. We got some dogs on the recruiting trail, really on both sides of the ball, but defensively,
oh yeah.
And crazy. I'm curious to see how this helps with the portal as well. Curious to see how that helps with the transfer portal.
That's a good point. Good point.
So we'll definitely see. Again, back to this game. What does Auburn need to do, B, in this game to really what are some of the keys for this game according to B Will? I like
Run
to
the
really
ball.
get keys according to B Will.
Appreciate that. Run the ball, man. Run the ball. We know what we're good at. We've been good at it every game outside of LSU because the game really got away from us really quickly, so we couldn't even run the ball to stay in it. But even in A&M, at a game that got away from us after a couple turnovers and stuff like that, we were able to run the ball on A&M's front, Georgia's front, Bama's front. If Maryland isn't as good as those teams and they aren't as talented as those teams on defense, we shouldn't have any problems running the ball to set up the passing game. PT has been more consistent throwing the ball late season when the run game was a part of what he wanted to do. It was, hey, he's going to run it just as frequently as you can expect the running backs to get the ball. It created a lot of open holes. Now, the receivers catching those passes was an issue at times, but those last 3 or 4 games offensively, the opportunities were there. Run the ball, get control of the game, and then find your opportunities with the passing game because the run game should create that. We have an unbelievable backfield. Our offensive line has played very well in run blocking. I don't know how you don't come out and establish the run first. I don't even know if it's a issue of is that too predictable. It's what we're good at. Do it. That's what we're good at. That's how we're going to earn our keep today, and I expect us to do it.
To me, the keys here is win time of possession. You do that by running the ball. And I think you show a commitment to your Jarquez's, to the running back room. You feed those guys early and often throughout this game. Yeah. And I think you also see, again, this rushing attack on the part of Auburn. I can't envision a rushing attack that doesn't have Peyton Thorne a part of it because he's been a part of it all season. Right?
He's a threat to run.
He's a threat to run. So I see a heavy dose of Peyton Thorne running the ball as well with Jarquez. And I think that's what has allowed both of those guys to have some success running the ball because now you do have to consider the quarterback. Again, I was impressed with Peyton Thorne's toughness in the Iron Bowl. I didn't expect him to get those gritty, nasty yards that we needed in that game to sustain drives, but he did it. He put his head down. Again, one of the things I complain about all year is Peyton Thorne needs to slide. Peyton Thorne is like, I got you, slide. I'm putting my head down and I'm getting these tough yards. That impressed me.
Yeah. Much unlike what happened early in the season, a lot of people had pegged him as quote unquote playing scared because he was unsure of where to go when throwing the ball. He was down to run over and through whoever from game one, though. Like he was willing to do that the entire time. He wasn't always sharp with the ball early in the season when throwing, and he did look like he was second guessing where to go. But at no point was he ever worried about contact when he was running. He has never been scared. And I think I don't like really calling any football player scary because you know what? Do you want to line up against a dude who's willing to run that hard? Like not really. Like you out there facing the defensive linemen and linebackers that the quarterback has to face, you're not scared. Okay, that's first thing. The kid showed hard every game, whether he played well throwing the ball or not. He showed hard running the ball. So I think the Bama game for him was a culmination of, you know what? This wasn't circumstantial, was it? This is a part of your game. You're capable of this. Maybe we didn't know it. We definitely didn't see it in Michigan State. He had an all-world running game year one when he started and a bunch of wide receivers to throw to, so he was throwing a lot.
And we wanted that version of him at Auburn.
Yeah.
But still do.
I mean, we do. Yeah, for sure. We definitely do. But we didn't know that he had this in his bag. But it's been good because if he didn't have it in his bag, our season probably would have been even worse.
For sure. Yeah. So, I think ball control is the name of the game here. And again, I think with your leading receiver, your leading receiver in the portal now, and Javaris Johnson. Not to say that we don't have guys like a Jay Fair. Not to say that we don't have some guys who can fill in and make plays for Peyton Thorne. But it's almost like because you haven't had consistent production at that position, you kind of have to roll with what you know you got. And that's the running game. So I expect to see us run the ball a lot against Maryland. And I don't want to see turnovers. I want to see us win the turnover battle. I think the team who turns the ball over the most in this game, this is true of most games, although, again, I think it was the Arizona. Who did Arizona beat? Was it Oklahoma?
Yes,
They
sound right.
had 5 turnovers, and that was a close game down the stretch,
It
right?
was, yeah.
So
It was.
typically, conventional wisdom tells you that if you turn the ball over more than the other team, it puts you at a great disadvantage. Auburn needs to
Right.
take care of the football, and Auburn needs to force some turnovers. Again, they're starting to they're going to have a QB rotation. We're going to see
Right.
multiple QBs in this game. There's plenty of opportunity for turnovers to take place.
Right.
So I expect them to take care of the ball and control the clock. I think Auburn gets out of here with a win. I think they do cover in that regard, B.
Yeah, I agree.
Defensively, are you concerned about, even though Talia Tagovailoa is not going to be playing in this game, there are some guys who've opted out for Auburn.
Yeah.
Particularly in the secondary. We're not sure about Jalen Simpson if he's cleared to even play.
He's not dressed out.
He's not dressed out. So again,
he's not playing.
We're kind of skippy from an experience standpoint in the secondary. Obviously, we got Keontae Scott playing. I think DK is going to be out there. But from a safety standpoint, what do you expect to see back there in that position?
I have no idea what to expect from those guys. They didn't play enough. Terrence Love didn't play enough. Sylvester Smith didn't play enough. Yeah. I don't know what we have back there with those guys, but this is how we find out.
He's in the portal.
Right. Marquise Gilbert left. He's in the portal. So we got Wooden, Baby Wooden. I'm calling Baby Wooden because, you know, Kobe
Caleb.
was. Yeah. We got Caleb Wooden. We got DK back there, probably playing the star position. We know we're going to have Keontae on one boundary and likely K and Lee on the other boundary. I don't know what to expect. I have no idea what to expect, but that's kind of what makes this game exciting. Now, you don't have to have an experienced quarterback to get manipulated as a defender, because that's where experience plays a big part. What have you seen? You're reading your keys and you're taught to read your keys, but a good OC can be like, I've watched enough of your tape, or I know this DC enough to know what keys he's teaching you to read. Now let me play off the keys that you're playing on to do something you weren't expecting. I don't know Mike Locksley well enough to know how good of a play designer and caller he is, but I know that this is what he does. So I would expect the similar way you kind of lick your chops as a defense when you're facing a brand new quarterback. I think an experienced OC is probably licking his chops when he's facing a brand new cornerback, a couple of new defensive back players. You got to manipulate them. You got to fool them. Misdirection, you know, stacking some receivers on the side, make them make some decisions that they may not be prepared to make. It's probably going to be an issue. I don't doubt we'll get bitten once or twice. If I think back to the Texas A&M game when DK went down and somebody else went down, and they got us for a big pass play, like within the next couple of plays, because hey, Caleb Wooden doesn't know what he's looking at. He's just getting real game reps. Like that happens. But maybe because they are not so experienced at quarterback, they can't take advantage of it. We'll see. DK being back there at the star and Keontae being at the boundary quarter, like that honestly calms me down quite a bit.
I'm okay.
Like we got two really experienced guys. Yeah, for sure. I'm with you. I want Caleb to play well back there too.
So we'll definitely see. We'll definitely keep a close eye on basically their offense versus our defense. I expect us to look strong in the run defense, even with Marcus Harris opting out of this game. I expect us, but I think that the key to this game for me is how do we look in the second half? Yeah. But again, controlling the clock is also going to protect your defense. And to be fair to Hugh Freeze, he called a type of offense throughout the season that was mindful of how thin we were in certain spots defensively. He liked our defense, no doubt. There's a lot to like about that defense, but he didn't want to just go tempo, 3 and out. You got so much to figure out offensively and put the defense in a bind, right? And so he called a very conservative type of offense in retrospect. I give a lot of reprieve to Hugh Freeze in that regard. I'm curious as to how he's going to call the game today in light of that, because obviously Hugh Freeze wants to win this game and get to 7 wins in year 1. How conservative is he going to be with the defensive mind is going to be key. I tell you a guy who I'm looking forward to seeing on the defensive side of the ball, Will, and that's Zeke. Okay. This is an opportunity for him to get some burn, and really, this is his time. This is his time. Yeah. Show the coaches what you got. You were in the portal for a hot second almost a year ago. You jump back out of the portal. This is your time.
Yeah. He came back. He got some snaps this year. He did get on the field. Marcus Harris is gone. Like this is your spot. Like if you can kind of cement your role, like what we saw, I want to say was USC. Their quarterback came out. Nobody had ever heard the name Miller Moss outside of USC fans, I'm sure. He was back there behind Caleb Williams and Malachi Nelson, the all-world true freshman, came in and then he left. He said, "Nah, I'm gonna go do something else." And so they're like, "Oh, well, what are you gonna do? Your five-star true freshman left, your Heisman winner left. Well, you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna go to a guy who's been there for a year or two, and he's gonna ball out." Did anybody else have what's his name, Moss Miller, as throwing 6 touchdowns, the best quarterback performance of the bowl season? No, nobody had that. Why can't any one of these guys who are stepping in right now put themselves on the map in that way? You absolutely can. That's the beauty of the bowl game. It's really rough right now with people opting out and changing schools and stuff like that in the middle of bowl season, but there's opportunity here. I would love it if Zeke sees this opportunity because, man, there are some dogs coming in on this defensive line at freshman. He's going to be fighting for his life if he don't secure a spot right now. So maybe he does that. He steps up and does it.
Absolutely. My eyes are definitely on him as well as the safeties in today's game. Let's get to some of you guys' comments. You guys have been commenting. We appreciate you being here. Kelsey Gardner says, "Be Will, where'd you get that coffee mug from? I need that."
Man, I got this off Amazon. You know what? I'll find the link. and try to put in the chat for the game's over.
Cool. Steve Bradley says, "Hiring Kelly might get us a good recruit for next signing day and AJ Harris as well now." Definitely keep our eyes on that.
I saw a couple predictions saying AJ Harris was coming here anyway. I don't know what the holdup is, but it seems like a lot of other spots are filling out already. So maybe this was the next best place for him. I don't know if it was Charles Kelly making that decision. Was he looking at Colorado too? Was AJ Harris looking at Colorado too?
No, I don't think so. I think word on the street he wanted to move back closer to home, which puts him square in the eyes of Auburn.
Gotcha.
But yeah, to your point, I don't know what the holdup is, but we will see in a few days. Corey Weber says Kelly may be co-defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I saw that, Corey. I saw that report. Co-DC. That makes me feel like they're ready for somebody to leave soon. And not that they're pushing them out the door, but if you lose anybody off this staff, then you're ready to go ahead and feel right on in. So, we've often thought because of how well he's recruited and how young he is that he may be ready to step up Zach Etheridge. He bleeds orange and blue and he loves Auburn, but he also interviewed for a head coaching position at a smaller school this offseason. I can't remember which one it was.
I can't remember it either.
But I mean, you're not going to keep excellent recruiters and coaches in your pocket for too long, especially when they're that young. So if you lose him, though, whether it's a year, 2 years, whatever, Charles Kelly's a defensive coach by trade. There you go. Excellent recruiter, defensive coach, fits right in. If it were to be Coach McGriff, he took an off-field role and stepped down from a on-field role. If he ended up leaving, well, look, you got another defensive back coach, excellent recruiter. You keep it moving. If Ron Roberts was to leave, I don't know if it would be Charles Kelly necessarily. It might be, what's his name? I think we were talking about this before,
Aldridge.
but
I mentioned Aldridge.
Josh Aldridge. Like he's kind of getting groomed for that spot. He's been with Hugh Freeze for a minute now. Could be, or now you've got a more experienced Charles Kelly in pocket. And no matter what happened, you are kind of insured that you're going to have some
embarrassment of coaching riches on that side of the ball.
Yes.
That feels good to say. And Charles Kelly's an Auburn alum. Like, so it's just there's an extra there. So yeah, it's fun times, man. I'm excited about it. Cleveland Brown says, "Does Kelly's hire change your perspective on where Colorado is with the primetime era?" No, it does not.
No,
it does not.
Coaches players are coming there for prime, and prime's still there. He'll get the players he wants to get. Like he didn't have Travis, what's his name? The cornerback that plays wide receiver for him too. Travis Hunter. He didn't need Charles Kelly to get that guy there. There's nobody who is coming there for prime who's going to be disappointed that Charles Kelly left. Whoever he hires as a defensive coordinator is going to be privy to the talent that will want to come play with prime. Prime's trajectory, as long as he's there, he'll be fine. Well, and his son, he needs a good quarterback coming behind Shedeur, because Shedeur.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know what the story is about Charles Kelly leaving either.
Right.
I don't know
Right.
what the story is behind that. So
Right.
again, sometimes coaches aren't a good coach. He moved way out there, out west. Probably wanted to be club back closer to home. What better place than Auburn? A place he was interested in being the defensive coordinator there already. So I don't know much about why he left or what's going on with Colorado. But no, to answer your question, I don't think that this changes my perspective yet.
Yeah.
So Ephesians 2 verses 8 through 9 says defense will give up points today. Too many key players out. Again, I'm taking a close look at the secondary for sure. Also, I am curious about how we look up front against the run. I think our starters will be okay, but again, this is a 4-quarter game. I'm curious to see how that depth looks as the game wears on.
Right. Right. And that depth is really the issue here. We lose a couple of guys, turn an ankle. You have to take a couple plays off. We're in trouble because now we're down to guys who have not seen real time. But again, listen, JC Hart was a great pickup. He's a talented guy. There was a lot of experience in our defensive backfield. So what we don't know for sure is just how good the guys who came in are. It's not like they're guys who have been sitting on the bench for 3 years and they couldn't crack the lineup because they weren't as talented as the guys playing in front of them. We could have some excellent talent in the defensive backfield. This is just their first opportunity. And I do think it's going to be some growing pains in here. So we'll probably give up a few points. It's okay. But I think we honestly, however worried you might be about what we could give up because of their inexperience, I think we also have a chance to be wowed by their potential today. And I'm looking forward to that.
Indeed. Sub-Zero says at work, but I told y'all, boss man, understand this. The War Report and I must show love to the Green Name Gang. War Eagle, everyone. War Eagle to you, Sub-Zero.
War Eagle, man.
Hope you can enjoy as much of the game as you can at work. Let's see here. Sipco Wilson says Auburn future looks good for years to come. It does.
It does. We look good. We set up good. We're setting up good. If we get Ryan Williams, I know I know a recruiting win is not.
It's not like killing it, but
it's not a national championship to recruit the best wide receiver class in the nation. It's not a national championship to recruit the best wide receiver class in Auburn history, but to take 2 5-star wide receivers from your rival. Like, not only did Bama not get these guys, we got these guys. Like, that is a direct transfer.
And a big time linebacker from Georgia who you beat out Bama for.
Right. No, we have picked Bama's pocket in multiple ways this offseason when it comes to
I ain't never seen no stuff like this be in all my years.
And we just pilfered a defensive lineman from the 25 class. Like, this is
a potentially big offensive lineman from Georgia just decommitted recently.
Yep. It's happening, man. It's happening in real time right in front of our faces.
Crazy, bro.
This is what we've been missing through the Gus era, definitely through the Harsin era. Elite talent would not come here. We would luck up and get one player every other cycle that was elite. We had a Derek Brown, we had a Marlon Davidson, we had a
we said Marlon Davidson,
Derek Brown. We had a Carlton Davis. We had a Carlton Davis. We haven't had guys who were like, you can't miss them. Everybody in all the high school people are like, no, this guy's elite. He's going to be in the NFL. How many of those guys are we like? Indisputably, this guy is elite. It doesn't matter where he's going to ball. We didn't get those guys. We haven't gotten those guys in Cam Newton. It just didn't happen a lot. It did not happen a lot. We are now getting those guys. Oh, Brandon Carr said Carl Lawson. Yes, Carl Lawson was one of those.
That's what I was looking for. Carl Lawson,
2013. We have not consistently been able to get those guys, and we've been playing against people who get 2 or 3 of those guys in every class. We've been down. Now we're turning the corner. Papo,
Baron Coward.
But again, how did those,
how they panned out was a little. It was a little. But Papo's in the league. Papo made it to the league.
He did. He made it, and we're proud of him.
The league. He went elsewhere. He went to Maryland of all places. Brandon Carter. I love the comments. They're mentioning Montravius Adams. So yeah, like we've had some big time, but the people we're getting, the head-to-head matchups, dude, that was a period of time we went over against our big time rivals.
Oh yeah, constantly.
Like if we knew Bama and Georgia won, we could see. Like, do you okay? You remember when there was a time the weekend before recruiting where a guy went to go visit another school, and we were like, "Oh, we lost him." Oh yeah, he going. Yeah, we ain't good. But now it's like, I think we're still in this.
Right.
I think we're still in this. Like that is a change. That is
Exclusive.
definitely a change.
Exclusive, I hear you. You naming the elite linebackers that we've had come through here, played elite while they were here. I agree. These were elite players while they were here. They were not can't miss prospects across the board like consensus. They were not. Now they ended up being that here. Having Travis Williams here doing linebacker recruiting is a big reason why we got those guys here and why they were productive here. But
we're talking about recruiting, like head to head.
Right. Head to head, and no matter where they would. Do you doubt that Derek Brown would have been a monster wherever he went? Derek Brown's gonna be a monster anywhere. Which is why every time you see Bammers trying to big up, oh, well, Saban developed them. No, listen, man. Saban got guys who are going to be monsters wherever they play. Julio Jones didn't need Bama to be great. He was going to be great. Cam Newton didn't need Auburn to be great. Cam Newton was going to be great wherever he was. Regardless. Those type of players are few in each recruiting cycle. And what we have now done is get more than like 3 of them in one class. And we were fighting to get one of them in one class before. Completely different story now.
Right. All right, let's get to this one, man, and we're going to give our predictions, and we're going to get ready for this game. Otis Smith says Eugene Asante and Keys will be madmen today. Again, I'm excited about the second level and how those guys are going to play. I think they're going to come out and play inspired. Excited about them and their play. B. Will, give me a final score, man. What you think about this game here?
It's so hard to know what to expect from Maryland with their quarterback situation being what it is. I don't think they had elite talent stacked in that room, but I also don't know you had a guy who was a 4th, 5th-year starter. If they had an elite quarterback behind Talia Tagovailoa, would they have gotten a start over a guy that experienced that had been with Mike Locksley that long? Probably not. Are we looking at a Miller Moss situation where, hey, he was back here, he was ready, he just wasn't going to get the start until he got the chance? And then he shows something miraculous against Auburn? That would be our luck, wouldn't it? That some transcendent prospect was just sitting on Maryland's bench and had the game of his life. I don't think that's the case, though. I think we win this game 31-17. 31-17.
31-17. I got 27-17 Auburn. Okay. So we'll see. Auburn's going to get ready to kick off in a minute. We will catch you guys at the halftime. Again, that's Green Name Gang only. We'll give our thoughts about what we're seeing. And then post-game, we will be here to give our thoughts about the game as it concludes. Guys, enjoy. War Eagle.
War Eagle.